Recent data tells us that 63% of people are living paycheck to paycheck right here in America. Welcome to Patrik Barfi Show. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about living paycheck to paycheck, how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. You see, a person is living paycheck to paycheck when their paycheck is used to cover their necessity expenses with no money left over or little money left over. And it's a stressful way to live, it's unstable, and it's very, very risky financially. You see, you don't want to be in that position. You know, you get your paycheck, the moment the paycheck hits your account, it is gone. Then you'll be waiting for the next paycheck. That's living on paycheck to paycheck. It had nothing to do with the income. It had nothing to do with the income. I will say it again. When you tell people, people think when they make more money, they can live paycheck to paycheck. But that is not, I would say, it's not right. You can make a lot of money and still live on paycheck to paycheck. As a matter of fact, about 43% of the population that make more than 100,000 live on paycheck to paycheck. And it's a stressful way to live. So what are the signs that says, that because you might live in a paycheck, paycheck to paycheck, but you might not know. So what are the signs that will say, hey, you're living on paycheck to paycheck? Let's check. The first one is you are carrying a credit card balance month to month. You see, when you look at it, about 43% of more than 40% of the population don't pay off all their credit card. And you know what that means. If you don't pay off all your credit card, that is where you get hit with, interest rates and all that. And we know average credit card interest rate is about 23, 24%. So, like I said, it's a very stressful way to live when you live on paycheck to paycheck, and it's very unstable financially. Number two, the things to look for is you stress about paying your bills. See, you should be able to pay, especially your bills. Your essentials should be paid. If you are stressed paying your bills, that means you live on paycheck to paycheck because it doesn't matter how much you make. You can make 150, 200, 50,000. If you are stressed paying your bills, especially, you can't cover your four walls, which is the four walls. I always say this here. You need a place to sleep. You need something to eat. You need transportation and place of sleeping. You have to your utilities, everything, water, electricity, everything should flow. And if you can't cover this and you are stressed, taking care of this, that means you're living on paycheck to paycheck. So you have to watch out. Number three, you cannot save 5% of your monthly income. This all go back to having too much debt. Your paycheck hit your account, it's gone. So you can't even save anything. You see, when you start thinking as a poor person, let me explain here. What it is the thinking of the rich is they invest first and they spend the rest. Thinking of the poor, they spend first before they invest. And by the time they're done spending, all the money is gone. They have nothing to save, But what it is you work so hard, and every money you work, at least portion is yours. So you have to bring that mentality of saving first before spending. All right. So if you cannot save 5% of your take-home pay or your income, you might be living on paycheck to paycheck. Again, I would say it's not how much you make. Because even if you make 40,000, 50,000, and you can live beyond your means, you can still have some to save. Number four, you do not have emergency fund. Rainy day fund is a problem. The old saying say whatever will happen, or whatever can happen will happen. When you look at about 10-year period in America, in that period, average American goes through this emergency. That means you need a rainy fund behind that can support you when emergency happens. Like a accident deductible. Have accident, you have your deductible, you have to pay that. So if you don't have emergency fund, the suggestion is you have to make sure you have enough money for emergency. That is not for investing or anything. It should be sitting for emergencies. as a sound emergency fund. And if you don't have that, that means you might be living on paycheck to paycheck. The next thing is number 5. Your mortgage payment is up more than 30% of your monthly income. That is risky way to live. So many of us have bought too much of house, and guess what? Our pay, income, our mortgage is taking about more than 30% of our income. See, the rule of thumb says you shouldn't spend more than 25% of your take-home pay. The money that hits your account or the money that hits your bank account, that money after everything, that money that comes in, if your mortgage is taking more than 25% of your take-home pay, you will struggle. You will struggle. And that is one of the signs that you are living on paycheck to paycheck. I'll say it again. Most of us bought too much of house, and some of us, our mortgage is about 50%, some even 60. You will struggle, and that will lead to paycheck to paycheck. Number 6, you lease a car you can afford to buy or finance. It's the same way. The rule of thumb when it comes to cars is you shouldn't spend more than 50% of your income. Sometimes it's amazing how people make 40,000 and they're using 70,000 car. You're using 2 years of your income. You driving that? Amazing. We buy too much of a car. Too much of a car. That is one thing that kills us a lot, because when you look at the second thing, the second expensive thing we spend in life, apart from house, is our cars. And the bad side of car is it doesn't appreciate. It goes down in value. At least most of them. Few ones, the classical ones are different, but that is not a regular, everyday car that we use. Those are people invest in those things. But the everyday car that we use, we shouldn't spend more than 50% of our income, or it shouldn't cost more than 50% of our income. But what happens, we really, so many people use cars that are twice their yearly income. And if you're doing that, you might be living on paycheck to paycheck, except your next deck is already a million. Other than that, why? Because what it is you can't take that hit, because cars go down in value. If you buy a car 20,000, by 4 years time, that car probably might be worth about 8,000. So you do not invest in things that goes down. Somebody will say, hey, so I shouldn't have a car, or should I use a hoopty car? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it shouldn't be more than 50% of your take home pay, because you will struggle. So if you put things in the right order, right place, guess what? You can easily buy a car that you'll be paying, or is paid for. Number 7, your financial decisions are influenced by your friends' spending habits. Ooh, that is a good one. That is what? Catching up with the Joneses. Most of us, we don't live our lives. We live people's life. No, no. Thanks to social media, the things that goes on these days, we see a friend, on vacation, chilling, and we want to do exactly the same thing. And guess what? We do not have that money. We put those things on plastic. And what happens? Gradually, we started living on paycheck to paycheck. So these are the 7 things. I mean, there might be more. If you have more, you can, send it to the box, or you can, add it. But these are the things to watch when it comes to signs that you are living on paycheck to paycheck. So if we are living on paycheck to paycheck, like I said, this has nothing to do with your income. You see, about 60% of Americans live on paycheck to paycheck. Guess what? High, let's say, if you're making, your income is high, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't be living on paycheck to paycheck, because a study shows that about 60% of millennials, who make over 100,000 live on paycheck to paycheck. 60%, they're highly paid. That means they make 6 figures, but they still live on paycheck to paycheck. And this is millennials, right? In general, 43% of people that make more than 100,000 live on paycheck to paycheck. In total, it's about 125 million Americans live on paycheck to paycheck. That is risky. That is not good. When it comes to people that make between 50,000 and 100,000, about 53%. So when you look at the whole thing, or when you look at the stats, it doesn't matter. You can live on paycheck. You can be living on paycheck to paycheck, even if you're making a million, and you do not organize financially. Organize things financially. So living on paycheck to paycheck doesn't mean you're making a little income. Yeah, a study shows that um, most people that have hit the net worth million, I'm not net worth. So that means what they have at the bank, or in their 401ks and their house and everything together, not just money alone, everything together, their net worth, about 63% of them in life, if never household combined, if never made $1 million, 100,000. So it tells you that you don't have to make more, or you don't have to make less to live on paycheck to paycheck. So it all depends on you. So if we live on paycheck to paycheck, how are we going to solve this? How are we going to be able to take care of living on paycheck to paycheck? Number one, how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Number one, you got to be on a budget. You got to be on a strictly budget. Budget is the key. Most of the time we live on paycheck to paycheck because we do not know what is coming in and what is going out. I can guarantee you, if you tell about more than 50% of people listening to me right now, when you ask them how much they make a year, they won't be able to tell you. Trust me, they will not be able to tell you. That means we are not paying attention. And when you tell them how much they spent a month, they won't be able to tell you. So if you're not paying attention, you will spend anyhow. And that can easily put you into paycheck to paycheck. So we have to start on a budget. We have to know exactly what comes in and what goes out. We have to make sure we give every dollar a name. Every dollar, I mean every dollar a name. And all of a sudden, you will see that you get a raise, because when you're paying attention, or when you're doing a budget, you start paying attention. And when you start paying attention, you start separating the need from the want. Most of us be focusing on wants. Rather, we should focus on needs. The needs are the things I just said. I said earlier on, the four walls. If we do not, even one of them is lacking, we cannot even survive well. We can't even think right. So we need a place to stay. We need a food to eat. We need transportation. And all these things can also put us in a high, can also make us spend more. But if you minimize that, you will be fine. So the moment you start doing budget, then you realize that, these are so many things I'm spending on that are not really the need. Like, we have so many subscriptions these days. There are some of us, we have every subscription, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, everything. They all do the same thing. Number two, take care of your four walls. I just said that, four walls. Taking care of your four walls, you have to also be very careful it doesn't land you in a place where you're spending too much. Like I said, you need a car from point A to B. And if you spend too much of a car, if you spend more than 25%, more than 50% of your income on a car, which goes down in value, that is not a wise decision. And so even taking care of four walls, you have to be very careful. Someone will say, hey, so you don't want me to use a nice car? No, I'm not saying that. I want you to use a nice car. I don't want your car to use you. And if you buy too much of a car, especially you are putting on a credit or you're financing it, that car is running you. You see, when you look at it, average car payment in the United States is about I think about 670 something. I think it's 725 now. And when you look at situation, average American pay big car payment from 25 to 65. So from the time, let's say they start, right after school, or when they start working, they pay off a car, they go get a car, pay off, trade it in, get another one, trade off, get it in. No, the cycle goes on until they are 65. That means for 40 years, they will pay in about 725. Do the math. Just investing 725 for 40 years, that will probably get you about 5 million. I hope you like the car. So most of us, what is killing us is our car. We need a place to sleep, Yeah. And if things are fine, you can buy the car you want. But especially you do not put it on a finance. You don't finance it. When you put things right, you can buy a car and buy cash. We need a place to sleep. We buy too much of a house, and that becomes a problem. Because hey, our friend just bought a big house. We also go get a same big house. Or we want to be like a millionaire, fully, catching up with the Joneses. But study shows that the Joneses are broke. Study shows that the Joneses can do math. Because what it is, and the Joneses make a lot of money. No doubt, they make a lot of money, but they spend it all. They spend it all. So it doesn't matter how much you make. It's how much you can keep. So if you buy too much of a house and it's more than 25%, your mortgage is more than 25% of your income, you are, even though you're taking care of your four walls, one of your four walls, you are buying too much of it. Another one is food. Most people eat outside all the time, eat at a restaurant, eat outside and all that. That also, if you eat once a week, that is fine. But eating outside every day, we know what it is. Even some of us, we eat home, we cook meals at home, but the things we've been buying, one of the problems of American is we buy too much food and we throw all of them away. So we have to watch that. The next one is, when we live, a house, we need the utilities to flow. All these things, if you don't have them, you know, if you don't have those things, it's hard to even uh, think right. But also having them and making this bring you down financially is not a wise decision. Number three is cut extra expenses. I was just saying it. Cut extra expenses. You know, we have so much of everything. We have Hulu, we have Amazon, we have everything. One subscription, but they're all doing the same thing. So cutting out expenses is going to help you to be able to, stop living paycheck to paycheck. It's very important we cut down expenses. If we do not, you know, especially people that live on lifestyle creep. What is lifestyle creep? Lifestyle creep is when you do as much as you can to increase your income. But guess what? Right after increasing your income, you go buy something and start using that increase to pay for it. So you'll be doing, trying to increase your income all the time. So your income will be bumping up all the time. But guess what? Nothing to show off of because you've already spent it before the money coming in. Like, hey, we just had an increment or income increase, then we just go change our car. So we have to make sure we cut down expenses. The next thing is start emergency fund. Starting an emergency fund, we need that. You need at least, the rule of thumb says you need at least between 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. Let me explain. If I spend 5,000 a month in my household, or around my household with 5,000 a month, at least I need between 15,000 to 30,000, depending on my situation. If you're both, if you both earn income, you can go, 3 months. That you decide, but I'm just explaining it here. You decide, but it's easy when both, because what it is it's most likely you guys are not going to be losing your job at the same time. So if you all have an income, then you can go 3 months, meaning even if I lose my income, my spouse is still working. So instead of drawing everything, we bring in maybe half of what we've saved as emergency to support that. And right after we're back on track, we also make sure we put that money back. Or some of us can go 6 months, especially those with the 1099 or individual contractors. Yeah, because what it is if you lose, you by yourself or both of you doing that, if anything happens, you are screwed. So if you're in that situation, I recommend or I encourage you to go 6 months. You need that. You need emergency fund. If you do everything right and you don't have emergency fund, anything happens, you go right back to, especially when you pay off all your debt, trying to be on the right track. If anything happens, you go back right into the debt. So you have to make sure, we have emergency fund. The next thing is to ditch debt. Ditch debt. Most of us, it's a routine or it's something that has been ingrained in us. Like, oh, everybody got to be on debt. You got to get debt for this, debt for that, debt for that. It's all about debt, 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 debt. Um, there was a study that was done that says that most people think the rich got to that position because they leverage things, but study shows that that is never true. They don't study. Most of them have, not even have a credit cards. But we think, or that's the thinking that the rich got to that position because they actually leverage things. That is never true. Because when you leverage things and you are not, especially you have to really know what you're doing. Because if you start leveraging things and you don't do it right, it's going to put you in a unstable financial position. So it's not true. Don't just focus on that. Oh, they got the only thing that I've seen mostly the rich they do is their first house when they're buying it, they take mortgages and that, but they try as much as possible to stay out of there. Why? Because if you're using somebody's money, there's something called interest that you have to pay. So you want to be on the other side. Instead of you paying, you want that to be paid to you. Number three is increasing your income. You see, people that are very serious, people who are taking uh, budgeting, they want to go somewhere, they always, 99% of the time, they always increase their income. Because what it is if they really want to do something, they see the light at the end of the tunnel and they want to get there. So when you look at people that try to get out of debt, try to stay on budget, try to cut expenses, trying to make sure they're taking care of their four walls, most of the time, their income keep on increasing just like that. So you have to be paying attention. You have to be focused, and it's going to increase your income. Uh, the next one is living below your means. I think all we've seen, everything that I've said up to this point tells us that we have to live beyond our means. Like I said, even if you're making 20,000 a year, and if you can live beyond the 20,000, you will have money to save. You see, if you make 100,000 and you spend it all, and somebody make 50,000, and they live at least 5,000 a year, within 5 years they have 25,000. You that spend it all don't have anything. So we have to make sure we live within our means. If we try to follow the Joneses, we try to copy people, we won't be able to do that, to get there. And that is important. We have to live beyond our means. The next one is save for big purchases. That is the key. Big purchases. There are people that think they have to take loans for everything, loans for school, loans for this and all that. If you know it's coming up, you have to project it and start saving for big purchases, especially cars. Some people will not, they can't wrap their head around it, like you buying a car and paying for it. They can't. But what it is, like I said, car goes in value, down in value, and you do not want to invest in things that goes in down in value. So rather paying interest on that, you can save up and pay for it. If you want to, and remember, you have to remember your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to get ahead? Why are you trying to make sure you put yourself in a good financial situation? You have to remember that. That is why your why should be big enough, and you should have vision behind your why. That is what is going to help you to be able to do what you're doing. When it comes to how to live paycheck to paycheck, if you go to Patrik Barfi at YouTube, you subscribe and share at least. I have break everything down, all these 9 steps, break it down that you can. These are very good content. Go to there, go subscribe. Patrik Barfi, YouTube. Patrik Barfi is Patrik, then Barfi, Barfi. Go to YouTube, subscribe. We have good content on there. That it can help you do that. If you are in a financial situation, if you work so hard, you make a lot of money, but you can't get ahead, hey, get in touch. Financially, we can help you get to where you want to go. These are the contact information if you want to get to me, or if you want to get to us. Any one of them, the numbers, email, we will be there to help you. So today, like you said, we're talking about the paycheck to paycheck living. If we go through this process, I think we will be fine. The most important thing is you have to have a dream, and you have to have a goal, and you have to follow it. It should be your goal. It shouldn't be somebody's goal. It should be your goal. All right. Thank you, and see you again. Patrik Barfi. Bye.